happening recently, tensions have been rising in the region, with two groups rising. The Orange Empire, this nation, and that nation versus, not the Orange Empire, Croutland, versus, well, the Beige Empire. Forgot what I named that. And then the Pink Zinza, or whatever I called it. And this nation and that nation, they unified. And while this nation leans towards them. And these nations, well, we'll have to see. Hi guys, welcome to today's video. In today's video, we're continuing the What If Civilization Restarts series. As we know, there's been some border changes there. And, yeah, this nation lost more land. So let's see what happens. This nation here seizes the opportunity to take back its lands that's been taken in the last bunch of years. And they attack right here. And they also launch an attack over here, with them having launched two offensives. As it quickly develops into a full-on front, with Croutland pushing it back over along this front, and even crossing the border there. But what leads to this erupting more is the attack in this puppet in over here. One of the Orange's eastern puppets. And while they quickly seize the offensive as they join their ally in this fight. And while they launch an offensive against their puppets. As they launch an offensive here to cut off supplies into this puppet over here, which leads to a withdrawal all the way to here. And they cross into this puppet that they couldn't pick which nation to get it to. Well, they advanced to about here. But all their allies start joining in. But against this nation launches a small offensive. With this nation over here deciding to fight on the other front into what we would call Anatolia, whatever they would call it, in the civilization I didn't come up with. So maybe in the future I'll make a live stream so you can get name ideas, so I can get name ideas. And while they quickly move this front forwards, as this front was not a main focus. With this puppet quickly collapsing, as they didn't have enough support of their nation viewing over them. Well, this nation here launches an offensive. But it quickly leads to, on this front, an offensive over here. That quickly leads to a recapture of the coast. And over here, their offensive stalls out and then gets pushed back. And they get pushed back to the north. And while not long in, their capital gets still captured. And this nation is not very much a fan of this. But with the help of, with the Beige Empire deciding to launch an offensive here against their puppet in the north, this has a quick success all the way down to here. And now on this front against the Croutland or Orange Empire, an offensive is launched. And it's not a slow one, it's a strong one, because both forces are in it together. And then over in this front, the Orange Empire loses control of more of its puppets. With this nation here ending up after the rest of its coast falls, being forced into capitulation. They end up capitulating to the nation in the stronger position. And while their offensive in the east, the eastern offensive, is doing really well, to the point where it starts liberating this puppet down the coast. As it advances over here, the Orange Nation might need to find a way. As these three puppets fall, then over here, an offensive is launched. The re-liberation of more lands. But what they aren't really concerned about is the offensives going on here. As it quickly moves in along the Black Sea coast, it gets stopped there. As it stalls out in the mountains, but in the north, this nation here wants to bring back the nation that is here. They want to liberate this nation, annex a bit of lands here, liberate that nation and that nation. So they launch an offensive. And well, it doesn't go global, so it won't become a world war. And well, quickly, this is what their offensive looks like. With them having to move forces here to push them back from key areas, which holds the frontier. This nation decides to annex this without entering the war. But with this nation here being offered stuff to launch an offensive, their offensive failed. And instead they get pushed back. And this nation in the north offers this nation land. As the other nations rush to put forces in, it ends up like this. Yes, it ends up occupied fully by both sides, by both of these bluish nations in that region. But this nation here, although not a strong offensive, but they begin pushing them back over here. But they do manage to launch an offensive against this nation. But this nation stands surprisingly well against it. So this nation launches an offensive, which they quickly capture northern coast of this nation. This war in a multi-side conflict, multi-front. This nation here starts an offensive to re-liberate its lands. Well, they quickly push and take back what's theirs. And then they launch an offensive here. And it goes really quick. And while both of these sides take it over. And while it slows down a bit, but still continues strong as they start retaking their lands. And while they manage to re-liberate these two puppets, they're trying to take back their puppets. And while they manage to advance here, with the nation over here having a breakthrough and managing to take some key coastal areas. which involves over here. And then they use this to take advantage and move through the front line. And while they start to move against this area to take it back. And while with the nation now in trouble, this nation takes advantage of it. And they launch an offensive north, which they connect with their front. Well, they advance here and do this. This nation kicking the beige nation out. Followed by the orange nation doing the same. This leads to the beige nation deciding to withdraw eventually, once the front here starts falling. Seeing this as another defeat, that nation leaves the war. And while the other nation is getting embarrassed, and well, this nation marches into this nation over here. And this nation doesn't join back in. Within the south of the mountains, they manage to do this. And then they connect the fronts, and at this point, all the nations decide to go for peace. As the peace negotiations break out, let's see how they go. And with this nation here splitting that land with this nation who annexed it. And while over there we can see two nations are released that were annexed earlier, and they're bigger than they would be. With this nation making a puppet here, here, and here, also here and here to extend, with this nation creating a puppet there, while they also annex this and this. And then they make two puppets there. And as you can see, this nation annexed up in there. So not much land was changed. And well, one more thing for today's video, basically. This area is given back after a withdrawal. After a while of occupying it. With the agreement, they had to retreat eventually. And wow, there's nothing left for today's video. That's all for today's video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Wild Mapper out, but not until you subscribe. Bye, guys.